And Mr. Glenn, if you'll please have a seat in the chair. You were here today for a new case. You were charged with 1 count of possession of a dangerous drug and 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. The possession of a dangerous drug is a Class 4 felony. Possession of drug paraphernalia is a Class 6 felony. I did not find possession of a dangerous drug, but I did find probable cause as to possession of drug paraphernalia. I did appoint an attorney to represent you. You will have a status conference hearing on March 17th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on March 19th at 8:30. You do have a secured appearance bond in the amount of $500. If you are able to post bond, you do need to appear for your court dates. If you fail to appear, any bond posted will be forfeited. A warrant would be issued for your arrest, and additional bond could be imposed. So that takes care of everything that we can do here this evening. If you will please step to your left.
So I got a bond, pay a bond to get out?
Yes.
What if I can't do that right now?
If you can't pay bond, then you will be held until your court date on March 17th.
Okay. Oh. That's kind of hard because, and why is that for the charges that I got?
Part of the reason why I imposed a bond is I looked at your history and you have...
Because I just got my kids back from CPS like not that long ago. I got 3 of my kids back. They're at the house unattended by themselves. Like,
well, then you might need to call DCS to come and get them.
I don't want to do that.
I think that you have no choice if you're saying that your children are at home by themselves and you were arrested at 7:40 this morning.
Yeah, I was arrested, but it wasn't for something that I was doing. I was in the middle of taking care of that. I had to meet up with my caseworker. And I just got my housing voucher, so that's the only reason why I didn't take care of this.
What I found probable cause for is that you were picked up for trespassing. That's how the stop initially happened. And then after you were allegedly...
That's not really how it went, man.
Well, whatever. I'm just letting you know that the information that I read, according to the probable cause statement, I told you...
My boyfriend turned into
a... Okay, we're done talking. Go ahead and step out. Mr. Glenn, if you'll please come into the courtroom, and Mr. Tabor, if you'll please have a seat in the chair. So, sir, will you please state your first and last name and your date of birth?
Jason Glynn, 7/21/74.
You were here because on a new case, you were charged with 1 count of assault with an intent to injure, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause as to that offense. I did appoint an attorney to represent you. Prior to making a determination on release conditions, I did review the victim impact statement. You do have an arraignment hearing on March 27th at 9 a.m. I am going to release you on your own recognizance. You do have to promise to appear for your court date. Do you promise to appear?
Yes.
There are some release conditions that you must abide by. You cannot return to the scene of the alleged crime. You cannot initiate any contact with the alleged victims. You cannot possess any weapons. And if there are any orders of protection or orders against harassment, you have to abide by those orders. You cannot reside at the same location as the victim, even if you are the owner or renter of the residence. You are permitted one civil standby with local law enforcement to assist you in collecting your essential belongings. If you violate the no victim contact order in this matter, you could be charged with aggravated harassment, which is a Class 6 felony. Failure to comply with these release conditions or to appear for your court date will result in a warrant being issued for your arrest and a bond likely being imposed. So that completes my advisement. If you have no questions, you'll step to the left. The officer will give you your paperwork.
Okay.
Mr. Sidabor? Hello. Can you please state your first and last name and your date of birth?
Kevin Stebor, February 9th, 97.
You are here today on a new case. You were charged with 1 count of assault with an intent to injure, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause as to that offense. I did appoint an attorney to represent you. I did appoint an attorney to represent you. You will have an arraignment hearing on March 25th at 9 o'clock. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. You do have to promise to appear for your court date. Do you promise to appear?
Of course.
You do have additional release conditions that you must comply with. You cannot return to the scene of the alleged crime. You cannot initiate any contact with the alleged victim. You cannot possess
Alleged.
any weapons. You must obey any, if there are any orders of protection or orders against harassment, you must abide by the terms of those orders. You cannot reside in the same location as the alleged victim, even if you are the owner or renter of the residence. You are permitted when civil standby with law enforcement to assist you in collecting your essential belongings. You are advised that if you violate the no victim contact order in this matter, you could be charged with aggravated harassment. You remember when I said at the beginning?
Yes,
to let
I
me
know.
finish
I'm sorry.
the
I'm sorry. I'm
advisement?
sorry.
So if you can't follow that small little request, giving me pause on whether or not you can follow these orders.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you are cautioned that if you violate the no victim contact order in this case, you could be charged with aggravated harassment, which is a class 6 felony. Failure to comply with your release conditions or failure to appear for your court date will result in a warrant being issued for your arrest and a bond being imposed. Now you may ask your questions.
You said the police can come with me to get my things.
Yes.
Could I just have my mom meet me and bring me my dog?
No.
Oh, she's
I
involved?
mean, like, you can involve anybody,
Is
well,
she
not the
involved?
victim. I'm telling you to go to the house, you have to go there with law enforcement, and you can only do that once.
Okay.
And you cannot initiate any contact with the alleged victim.
Who's the victim? I want to know who is written as the victim, please.
You know what happened. Do you really want to now go and put on the record what I reviewed?
No.
So if you'll step to the left.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson, will you please come into the courtroom? Sir, can you please state your first and last name and your date of birth?
Elijah Johnson, 10-7-87.
You are here today on a new case. You were charged with one count of disorderly conduct involving fighting, a class 1 misdemeanor, and one count of criminal damage, a class 1 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause as to both counts. I did appoint an attorney to represent you. You will have an arraignment hearing on April 8th at 1:30. I'm inclined to release you on your own recognizance today, but you do have to promise to appear for your court date. Do you promise to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
You also have the following release conditions that you must comply with. You cannot return to the scene of the alleged crime. You cannot initiate any contact with the alleged victim or victims. You cannot possess any weapons. You must obey any orders of protection or orders against harassment. You cannot reside at the same location as the alleged victim, even if you are the owner or renter of the residence. You are permitted one civil standby with local law enforcement to assist you in collecting your essential belongings. You're also advised that if you violate the no victim contact order, in this case, you could be charged with aggravated harassment, which is a class 6 felony. Failure to comply with your release conditions or to appear for your court date will result in a warrant being issued for your arrest and a bond being imposed. That completes the advisement that I needed to provide to you. If you have no questions, if you'll step to the left, the officer will provide you with your paperwork.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mackenzie Banks, date of birth April 7, 2001, is unable to participate in person due to the inability to function. Ms. Banks is in court because a warrant was issued when she failed to appear for a court date. An attorney was already appointed to represent her. She has a status conference hearing on March 17th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing on March 19th at 8:30. She has a secured appearance bond in the amount of $250. I will advise her that if she fails to appear for her court date, if she posts bond, that bond would be forfeited. The warrant would be issued for her arrest. An additional bond could be imposed. Mr. Alexander Stevens, date of birth July 21st, 1988, also is not present in court physically due to the inability to function. Mr. Stevens is in court due to a warrant issued out of University Lakes Justice Court. Due to the nature of the charge, Mr. Stevens is not entitled to a court-appointed attorney. He will have an arraignment hearing on March 25th at 1:30. He will be released on his own recognizance. He will be advised that if he fails to appear for his court date, a warrant would be issued for his arrest and bond would likely be imposed. I am going to meet with these two individuals. If any changes are needed, I will do so either in writing or on the record. This concludes the 8 p.m. initial appearance calendar, and we stand in recess until 11 p.m.